Now to our other big story of the day, a sinkhole in southern Hillsborough County that swallowed a man sleeping in his bed back in 2013 and reopened again 2 years later is once again causing concerns. Crews have been out on Faithway Drive in Zeffner throughout the day monitoring the hole after reopening for a third time now. But there is some good news. There's no one living close to it anymore. After the hole originally formed a decade ago, officials declared the area so unstable they demolished the house on the site and the homes on both sides of it. Meanwhile, our Stasi Olmos has been out there throughout the day today monitoring the situation.
She joins us now live. What's the latest, Stasi?
Well, guys, the county tells me that it's not uncommon for a sinkhole to reopen, but every time this particular sinkhole reopens, it's like opening a grave, now for the third time. Take a look at this surveillance video that I got from a neighbor across the street. Their camera caught the collapse on Friday. You can see a black spot appear, and that's the sinkhole opening, and a short while later, you can see a tree slowly sink in. It first opened in 2013 in the middle of the night right under a home at about 17 feet deep, taking the life of 36-year-old Jeffrey Bush. We met his brother out here today, and he says every time he gets a call about this sinkhole opening, it's like salt on a wound, and he wishes it would stop.
I come here all the time. When I'm not working, I try and come by here, visit him, because it's the only place I got to visit him. It's his last resting place. It's hard seeing the hole back open again. And a day that goes by, I don't think about my brother and stuff that happened in the house and that night, and hearing my brother yell and scream for me to help him. I hear it all the time.
There was nothing you could do. Bush says his brother's birthday is in 10.
Couldn't do it.
Bush adds that his brother's birthday is in 10 days on July 21st. The county tells us they filled the hole back in 2015 with gravel and water to stop it from spreading, and it's done just that. As you can see, it's stayed contained inside of the fence and no danger to area neighbors as well as their homes. They will be back out here tomorrow to refill the hole. Reporting live in Zeffner, Stasi Olmos, ABC Action News.
Stasi, thank you for that update. And of course, we know you'll stay on top of this developing story. Meanwhile, Jameson, you were there years ago, right?
Yeah, Wendy, 10 years ago, I was out there in Zeffner covering the story. And at the time, the U.S. Geological Survey told me our area is actually one of the hot spots for sinkholes in the U.S. They found that the majority of damage tends to happen here in Florida, Texas, Alabama, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Pennsylvania. I was more curious about this today, and I reached out to Raymond Russo. He's an associate professor of geology, tectonics, and seismology at the University of Florida. He told me a big reason for this is that Florida's land is largely limestone, and the minerals that make it up dissolve quickly in water that's even slightly acidic, whether that's rain or something that's flowing underground.
Remember, these things are three-dimensional structures, and so you may get this patch, but then below it you didn't know there was another patch, and so you can have this repeating kind of thing happening. You have to have really good structural control. You have to know exactly what's going on in 3D detail.
He told me the best way to close a sinkhole for good is to fill it with concrete, but a hole of this size may just be too expensive. Luckily for crews and residents in that area, that sinkhole in Zeffner is pretty manageable size-wise. We've certainly seen larger ones. Wendy?
Yeah, that's right, Jameson. In fact, you may remember some of these scenes from Pasco County in past years. We've been out there multiple times as residents were forced to deal with destructive sinkholes. New tonight, our Eric Waxler looks back to learn what has become of these sinkholes since then.
At the end of Ocean Pine Drive in Land O'Lakes, there's now a basketball hoop where the road once went through. That was until July of 2017, when the biggest sinkhole anyone in Pasco County can remember swallowed up 2 homes. One fell in as our camera was rolling. 7 other houses were condemned.
And they actually had tiles popping out of the floor. Their doors were becoming to the point they couldn't open and close them.
Anthony Fossa was a deputy chief with the Pasco Fire Department at the time.
It was jaw-dropping for a hole that enormous, and it was still growing.
When the hole stopped growing, experts decided not to try and fill it up, but instead Pasco County bought some of the land and fenced it off.
Those kind of holes that are that big, you can try and fill. You can fill them, cover them. Mother Nature is going to do what it wants to do. If it wants to take it back, it's going to open that hole back up again.
Experts say eroded limestone on Florida's west coast is what causes so many depressions and sinkholes around here. In 2019, officials reported nearly 80 depressions in Hudson's Lake Woodlands community. Another hole opened next to the Varsity Club in Newport Richey in 2021. Owners fixed the hole and the restaurant was able to stay open. And also in 2021, this bizarre site in Palm Harbor where two vehicles fell into a hole that opened up in a driveway.
What are you gonna do? I'm ready for a nice strong drink.
Back in Land O'Lakes, the county built turnarounds a few years ago on both sides of the hole so larger trucks would be able to get back down the street. And all has been quiet here in the past few years, except maybe the sound of a basketball. In Pasco County, Eric Waxler, ABC Action News.